Welcome to the Mindset Makeover. During this unique show, hosts Lisa Berry and Michelle Carter accompany you on a journey of mindful thinking, true feeling, and clearing mind chatter, all to align you with deep answers and multiple possibilities that help you move forward and live in the now. You become present, clear, and unstuck, and able to live fully led by your heart. Michelle and Lisa invite you to listen and feel this transformation through vibration of word, sound, and song. Open up to what's possible and experience a shift.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mindset Makeover, the show that shifts. Oh, what's possible as well. I'm Lisa Berry.
And I'm Michelle Carter. How are you?
I was so excited about today's topic, I almost forgot. Well, I did forget. See, that actually is
That's
totally
kind of perfect, though. That goes perfectly.
Okay, I might as well spill the beans. Today's show is about progress and not perfection.
Yay, exactly.
And see, there's a divine intervention of perfection there. You never know what's going to happen. So, yeah. Well, hello, Michelle. How are you?
Good. I'm really good. Scott is running around, Scott my cat, and he's really excited about the show today because for no reason he's just walking around meowing, which he doesn't even do.
Oh, he's got something to say.
He's really excited. Yeah, and he's very excited, and right now he just looked at me, and there's like a rainbow on his face, so I feel like it's going to be a good day.
Oh, hey, speaking of rainbows, hold on. Something rainbows. Oh, one of my people that I just adore on LinkedIn popped up, and their profile, they run a horse farm, and these horses actually help heal people and do, allow people to feel that connection that they feel safe with. And there was a rainbow in their picture on their profile thing. So it's like a rainbow day today.
Yay! That's awesome.
Well, today really
day.
actually is cool because honestly, the whole thing, when we figured out what we said, you know what, let's do progress, not perfection. This has actually been not just what today's show is about, but it's been a lesson to me all week, and I've been sharing it with people. And I actually have feedback, Michelle. You don't even know this. This is exciting. Can I share? I got to tell you this. Okay.
Of course. That's what this is all about.
I know. This is what we're sharing about. Well, I sent out, this is what the show's going to be about, and here are the things, because it's truly been in my whole week this week. Well, so one of my clients wrote back, she goes, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. She goes, this is her quote, I've been thinking about that lately, about how I do the all or nothing approach and end up feeling like I've failed for falling off the wagon. I've come to the conclusion that it's not the perfection of the steps that's important. It's the movement in a new direction that should be celebrated.
Oh, so true.
And she didn't even hear the show yet. That was just
but it's so true because we get really well, it's very easy to get very caught up in, people, it happens all the time with people starting a new diet or a new exercise routine. The day they don't do it or it's not as good as the day before, it's like, well, that's it. What's the point? And so if you look at it totally differently, that it's the progress, it's so important to remember that because it's so easy to get caught up in wanting everything to be perfect. And the reality is perfection doesn't exist. So it's just a pursuit of,
exactly.
You're setting yourself up to be disappointed because when you're a lot more flexible, which we've also had shows on flexibility, like flexible with the outcome and know that you're working towards something, I've ran into this a billion times doing studio work, especially when I started doing my own production. I can't tell you how many times, well, Lisa's known this, where I've lost things, where my computer's crashed, and I'm just like, and it wasn't part of my quote unquote plan, even though my whole life has not been part of my plan, but lots of things turn out great. And, it's crazy though, every single time I get rerouted, which again, we've also had a show about detours, it's like sometimes it's better. So like this pursuit of perfection, even though sometimes the progress comes through it not being perfect, Well, I think a lot of times that happens.
There's a couple things, what you just said about you've lost things, and then you think, oh my gosh, I just worked hard and I did this, and where is it going to go? Funny enough, actually, when I was writing up the show notes for this show specifically, that exact thing happened, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is kind of crazy. But the two things that I think would be fabulous to cover in our little tiny hour that we have together here, two things that I thought which were, because this was a real thing, like this was really what I focused on all week, not focused, but you know what I mean? It was a thread. This was like the reoccurring theme was, first of all, what does perfection look like to me? Like what do I even think that is? Because that's huge. And the more important part that I thought would be the greatest tool for people to come out of this whole show listening to is, how do you, okay, so here's, when you're in the middle of what you think is failing, like when you're like, oh my gosh, I failed, this is not perfect, I screwed up, I messed up, like when you're in the middle of that, how do you recognize progress? That's what I want people to commit, because if you're in the middle of it and you're feeling like, this is what I just went through. I was like, I can't believe I screwed up again on the same thing that I keep doing. I'm like, why? Is it not important to me? And I almost want to just like throw the whole goal out the window. Like, well, then maybe I'm not supposed to do that. And maybe, I went through the whole thing. And I thought, well, how does one stop in that cycle of really feeling disappointed and hurt and go, you know what? Wait a second. Let's turn this around. Because that's a hard thing to do, to pick yourself up from the ground, right? And say, all right, I got to coach myself through this. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think there's flip sides to it too. Sometimes you get so used to being disappointed or it not working out that you expect that. So you need like the side of optimism too, to know that it can get better. Because I think there's multiple sides to this, because I've totally been there, that to be like, well, whatever, nothing works out. And then that's not, it's weird because I don't really believe that. But then part of me, because, we are all these multifaceted people that we have, in one way we're like, oh, I've got this. And then the same scenario could happen and it's a meltdown. And so I think it's just like what we constantly are promoting is like using your tools when you're in those places, because it doesn't matter. You can be the most successful person in the world. And obviously, actually, my friend that has been very, very successful in his life, he once said to me that he thinks he fails more in a day than he quote unquote succeeds, but it's his perception of failure. So, and I think that's very true for a lot of people that are successful, because it's holding on to we were talking about perfection when we talked about that, because he's not every idea that he puts out there, not everything works out, but the ones that do work, and the ones that don't, let go and move on. And it really is a mindset. And
about holding on to something. I think that's where if we were to ask the question right away, like, what does perfection look like to you, to somebody? And I think I'm hearing right now that you just nailed it. It's perfection to somebody is holding on to a vision of what they believe that goal is supposed to look like, and the pain from having to let it go. Yes. Oh, I love
it.
Because
I know but it's so true, because we were talking about this years ago, and because I really, and not just perceived, he is very successful, and I also really loved our conversations and what we talked about, because it was the way he said it was just so good. How he's like, I probably fail all the time. He's like, but it's a perception of it. It's just, he's like, I just see it as, if that doesn't work, go on to another thing. And then the opposite is true, especially, it's, sensitives and artists. It could be like one thing doesn't work out. We're so hard on ourselves. This defines us. Oh, this failure is so big. It's bigger than me.
That word
totally
holds
been on
vibration. That the word fail, like
failure.
There's almost right now, I almost can't even, I want to love it right now. I want to send a lot of love to that word, because I already, if I just even hear the word fail, when people represent, you get a big F on a paper, and then that represents your worth. And I wanted to share this with everybody. So I was watching football. Oh, that starts with an F. That's funny. I was watching football yesterday, and of course I had to go into my little mode of what's the lesson in this, because I just love it. But what I really was so what's the word? Impressed. I was so impressed that an athlete can get up, and you know what? How many times do they fail, quote unquote, before getting
I can't believe you're using
or
that
even
analogy.
Why? Tell me.
I just can't believe because I've always thought that. I've always thought that about athletes, even though I do not have an athletic bone in my body. It's like I'm made out of noodles. But I have always been impressed. Well, I'm a wannabe, but I like it. I have a lot of joy. That's where I don't care if I fail. It doesn't matter because I just like it. But exactly what you just said. I've always thought that. I say that to my students a lot. Like just the idea, like athletes have a very different mentality because you cannot win every game, and you are never going to win every game. You can't. You don't.
Right. You have to do so much of it together. And what I kept thinking was, as I was watching them, because that's why you're on stage and you're the star, and I like to not be on stage there because I was looking at them because they're being filmed, and then the camera will go really close on their face, and then they'll replay the actual fumble like a bazillion times, and I think, oh my gosh, it's like highlighting the failure. And I thought, wow, these athletes are incredible. Like we are scrutinizing like every move, and I thought that's what we do to ourselves. And that's why I'm so excited to do today's show, because I think I've actually come through a lot this week. I think this has been one of my biggest learning weeks for myself personally. I was really, and like I didn't want to just constantly forgive, quote unquote, my mistakes and just, put them under the rug, because we know that I call that the lumpy rug. You're going to trip over those lumps one day. But to go, okay, wait, I do care. I have a vision of what I would like to see my life look like, what happens in it. And I didn't want to throw myself into the constant review board of the Lisa syndrome. And I want to accept and love, but nurture and say, okay, what progress have I made? Like really, really look. And if I haven't, then maybe I do owe myself a little bit of, I have to be responsible to make a little bit more progress. It's always like step by step, like a little plan of commercial. See? That's one of those. Okay, when we come back, more progress.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
The $1 million early bird deadline is this Friday in the Shop for Charity calendar sweepstakes supporting the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. Be part of this amazing draw for trips, cars, and $1 million cash. Plus, there are draws all year long. $1,000 cash daily, a Transat travel voucher weekly, a new car monthly, and the chance to play for $10 million in our pink ball draw, all for $30. Buy now. Call 1-800-643-1086 or visit sweepstakesforthecure.ca.
No, I don't have time for coaching. When I get into the car, I just want to hear music and drown out my problems. I don't want to talk about it. What? I've never heard of coaching music before. What do you mean coachable moments set to music? Really? In less than 8 minutes, I can listen to a single track and shift my entire mindset and mood? I guess when music is set to the universal frequency of 432 Hertz, anything is possible. If you're stuck, stagnant, or need a shift, get your album 8 now at 432shift.com.
Join me, Maggie Chula, on Mondays at noon Eastern for Mastermind with Maggie. Let's work together in a mastermind. We can resolve life's problems and create goals for the future. Build action steps empowering you to create your life in partnership with your divine source of light, your soul. Manifesting your goals can be simple and easy, so come with your problems and leave with a plan. The Akashic Master Teachers and I are waiting to help you.
Welcome back to The Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Michelle is just sharing pictures of all the rainbows that are in her house. I'm so jealous.
There's a lot of rainbows right now. You know what's crazy, though, is after, when we have time, I think because we're about to do a song, aren't we? But I've been thinking about a lot. I have a lot of stories. Pardon me?
Ooh. After the next break, we're going to have a special thing for everybody.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was this one. Anyway, there's a lot of non-perfection. There's a ton of non-perfection. I was thinking a lot about, because I really, this subject's quite close to my heart, because I've learned a lot in my own life, and especially through performance, of sometimes holding on to perfection is quite detrimental, and it doesn't make you the best, most flexible performer at all. And I clearly remember the day when things changed for me. I was doing a show with the first band I was in, and I always wanted it to be super perfect. I was really hard on myself, and I was young, but I like stranglehold every performance, and it was this very like cool kind of, not funk, but sort of like just a very relaxed sound, and really cool. And so what happened? Oh yeah. So this whole section, I forgot all the lyrics. Like I didn't know them, and I could have panicked. And instead I just started, I just freestyled, and it was amazing. Then afterwards, my bandmate who was very critical after shows, he's like, "Oh, I love what you did in the middle there." And I was like, "Whoa, same." And it just, that moment gave me so much freedom, because I was like, oh, it doesn't have to be perfect. And sometimes when it's not perfect, it's way better. And then, there'd be more and more moments of that. And I learned it in recording too, because I want everything to be perfect, but perfect often doesn't sound that good. Like, you want emotion, and you want, like, the pursuit of perfection is just, or whatever we perceive perfection, it's not often the best thing. Like, having life experience and all that stuff, like, you want the funny stories of all the times things went wrong.
When you just said about freestyling, what happened was, not only did it probably build your confidence that should you ever find yourself in a situation again in the future where that happens, you have something to fall back on. You're like, hey, you know what? I did something. It wasn't perfect last time, but it worked out really well. And it gives you some kind of like a freedom from freestyling, like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really been kind of my whole life. Yeah, and I realize, like, now, when you go to a dinner party, like, and you go to a dinner, like, if we were all perfect, if it was just like, oh, I woke up and everything worked out, you're the most boring dinner guest. And one thing I can always say, not a boring dinner guest, so many things are ridiculous. I have the most silliest stories and the most thing. Like, most of it has not been perfect, if not all of it. And it's kind of great. And I've embraced it now, because I don't even know, like, I still totally feel like I have that vision and those things, but I've stopped holding on to what it's supposed to look like, because that can really trap you. And I mean, saying this so grand about life, about anything, because you just really don't know. When you're more open to being okay when stuff doesn't work out exactly as planned. Like, you plan to go out for dinner and that restaurant's closed. Go to another one. Your night's not ruined.
When you say about what something's supposed to look like, it's really cool, because I realized very young, and this is actually one of the questions, if you were to read what this show was about, another thing that really came up for me was myself, very, very honest, very shariness. I think a lot of times I do the whole perfection thing, not because I want it to be perfect, because it's my own protection. It's my mask, because I don't want somebody to make fun of me. I don't want to stand out. So also too, I remember when I was younger, I have an older sister, and somebody picked on her. It was very casual picking on, like kids do, which isn't cool, but it happens. And it hurt me so much, because I'm sensitive, and it upset me to see them pick on her. That lesson was actually for me too. I took it as, I never want to wear a hat that somebody would tease me and because now, her feelings are hurt. I don't want my feelings hurt. So that lesson to me was, you be perfect, Lisa. You wear the perfect hat and nobody says anything and don't stand out, and make sure it's all perfect so that you don't get hurt. And so perfection doesn't always come from wanting something so much. It can come from not wanting to get hurt. And I think we do that in relationships, right? Like, yeah.
No, it's so true. No, because I've been the total opposite. That instead of, because people making fun of, I'll be the first person to say it. I'll be totally self-deprecating. I'll be like, oh, well, if I'm wearing a crazy hat, which I could totally do, like I wear lots of crazy things, I will be the first person to say it. And that's why I was like, haha, I got you all. I'm the first one to say
you diffuse. You diffuse perfection.
So we totally do the opposite. But I mean, everybody has a different, I fully understand wanting to be, I totally understand the perfection thing. I do it a lot with music, and I realize it can stranglehold me. Like like the idea of letting, that's so good. Anyway, I just got excited. Carry on.
This is our important thing is when somebody's listening to this, that's what I'm hoping people are really asking themselves, what does perfection mean to you? Not what is this perfect fill in the blank looks like. It is, what does perfection mean to you? Is it something that you have to do so you don't get in trouble? Have to do, or is it something you want to do because you just really want things to be a certain way and you just want to express this to the world or something? So I think that was one of the biggest questions in our beginning part to ask. And the other thing is too, when I was going to say, what do we attach? Like progress. So progress is just as important. Well, it is the most important thing to perfection is, what do we attach to progress? Like how many people are involved? What is involved in your progress? And can you allow somebody else to be a part of your progress? Like in your vision of perfection, are you just, that's it? Only you can be perfect? Or is the question are you the only one allowing yourself to be a part of what you believe perfection is? Or can you attach it to things and circumstances and people so that you can celebrate and share? Because really, I do think that in order to measure progress, it's not just about measuring your own steps. It's about measuring all the people involved.
It's so much easier to see other people's things, too. I know this with the Willie Carter, because she'll be able to, Willie Carter, hi Mom, and she'll be able, we both notice stuff for each other to be like, you're crazy, how do you not see that? That's so much better than last year, but we'll point it out because it's so easy to be like, nothing ever changes, and then you're like, no, lots changes. And like, it's good to have someone that you can talk to and that can see it for you, because like often when people lose weight, unless it's really, really dramatic, like say someone loses 20 pounds, which is quite significant, people that are around them every day may not see it, but then you see a friend you haven't seen for a while and they're like, wow, you look different. So it's like, you can't always tell when you're in your own little circle or with any type of progress, because it's so easy to be like, oh, well, I'm back where I was before, but we never are. We're always some degree, whatever that may be, because even if it feels like we've made the same mistake 4 times, if we're listening, we're probably learning each time from making that mistake, and we're a little further ahead. So it's just so important.
You said there about that's actually really neat. You said about somebody who sees something every day versus somebody who hasn't seen something for a long time, because you're right. Maybe when we believe, so that in that, like that, my big question of the show, how do we, in that moment of feeling like we have failed or we're not perfect, how do we see the progress? I love what you just said. It's not about looking at it at the point of where you are in that moment of failure or feeling failure or whatnot, but going back to, well, where did you start? Where was it you started from? Like, and then a different measuring stick is used.
And sometimes, we feel like we go backwards. And, I mean, there's real times in life where you kind of have, from the outside world, went backwards. But for whatever reason, there's lessons in it all. We have to kind of see this big, long or short life journey we're on. There's lessons in each step. So you could ask yourself, okay, and I've noticed in my life, every time I feel that something's fallen apart, that whole falling apart but falling into place type thing, it will feel like the sky's falling And then it was the greatest thing ever. I mean, that happened with meeting you. That was such a low, same when I met then. Very, very weird time in my life that I felt like, oh, how am I here again? And blah, 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 blah. And then I meet like the best people of my life. So it's just, who knows, had everything happened as I quote unquote planned, if those little divine intervention and timings would have happened. So, I mean, that's why we kind of have to be in a river. Like a river doesn't go, oh, there's a rock, that's it, I'm going to go backwards. The river just goes around the rock. Like,
no, I was actually picturing that. I like to personify everything. Everything as a
But it's just, if we look at ourselves like that, and it's like, of course, sometimes there's dams, but maybe that dam happened to make a beautiful lake. We don't know. We just have to not be, I think the biggest thing, and I'm only speaking from my own personal experience, is to lighten up a bit, even though, and sometimes we have big roadblocks and sometimes they're very, very scary, but to just usually, not all the time, like we've talked about, there's big illness, there's death, there's huge stuff sometimes, but most of the stuff is not the end of the world. And some stuff could be close, but most of it isn't. So to be just a little kinder to ourselves when those moments happen.
I love that you said the be kind thing because you love saying that. I have to share this before because this is perfect timing for the commercial. Listening to Matt Kahn, you introduced me to him, and I just love him to pieces. Was listening or watching, I should say, to one of his things about Feel Good Now, and I love what he said about when you just said about being kind. Let's say you're absolutely say you're really ill or you're sick or you're devastated or you're sad or you're angry. And in my case, I was just really I was being really hard on myself. Like, you just stink right now, Lisa. You're like backwards, even way further back than what you were. Anyways, in this, Matt Kahn said, he goes, even if you can't even find a thing to be kind to yourself about, what you can say is, you know what? I am so good at being bad to myself right now.
That's so good.
And you go, look at how awesome I am at being mean to myself. Like, you know, I'm doing this really well, you know. And then you actually just shift just by even recognizing, like, look how well I'm being sick. Look how well we're going to go into this commercial break. And then
I love that.
That's a good starting point.
That's so good.
Matt Kahn, love him.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive, dedicated community.
The $1 million early bird deadline is this Friday in the Shop for Charity calendar sweepstakes supporting the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. Be part of this amazing draw for trips, cars, and $1 million cash. Plus, there are draws all year long. $1,000 cash daily, a Transat travel voucher weekly, a new car monthly, and the chance to play for $10 million in our pink ball draw, all for $30. Buy now. Call 1-800-643-1086 or visit sweepstakesforthecure.ca.
Every Tuesday on Living with Moxie, join Shefali Burns and Donna Martouge in conversations designed to take you to the next level, where we highlight ideas, resources, and strategies that provide you with the leverage you require to meet and exceed your business and personal goals. Each week on Living with Moxie, we will lead conversations related to success, achievement, fulfillment, and extraordinary, vibrant living. Are you ready to live with Moxie? Join us.
This is the sound of salmonella gyrating on your undercooked chicken. And it looks like Mom might be taking it out a little early. Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So use a thermometer to cook each type of meat to the right temperature. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Michelle, I wanted to remind all the listeners that though the early bird is over for the sweepstake calendar, they can still get it. They can still go to www.sweepstakesforthecure.ca and pick up that calendar so they can have a chance to win that $1,000 a day.
Yay! And also, too, if you can go to 432shift because it's right there, too. You can just go click on it there, 432shift.com.
That makes it so much easier.
Either way. Yeah, because it's a lot easier.
Either way.
Just go to the picture, click it, buy your calendar, yay.
They have to come. I like them to come to our site instead because it's just so pretty, and then they can measure progress of how they feel on there. Well, I think that's why we do everything in 432 vibration. I mean, the frequency, hertz, all that good stuff, because it really does do something fancy into your cells and your body, and I love it. So, Michelle, we have something very special this show. I'm so glad that we do the work that we do together, because not only do you and I use it in our personal lives like every single day, but what has come from it, we really do put that into our creations. And we're so happy to share it with people. So this one, creativity, which we are going to share, and it is 5 minutes, so I'm going to let everybody know we're going into a very important soul exercise, our ship songs.
I believe it's clarity.
Michelle, yeah. Oh, yes. I want to let you share with people just a quick little thing about what you think about what they're, gear them up, and then we'll go into it.
Gear them up for clarity?
Yeah.
I think a lot of, anything in life is getting clear. So I felt this song really went really perfectly with perfection, because being clear, then you have more perfect moments, I think. I don't know. It feels good. I'm excited for everyone to listen to it.
Okay, and I'm actually going to do the exercise along with everybody. So all listeners, 5 minutes. Here we go. Let's do our progress to perfection through clarity.
Is when you're done brainstorming, when you're done questioning, when you have no more doubt. Clarity is when you have confidence and you start to manifest. Clarity is when a new understanding becomes a part of you, as the connection between belief and expression creates confidence. It allows you to experience on a physical level through manifestation. Clarity is so important, as a lack of clarity creates resistance. Things mismatch in your life. You have so much confusion. You question everything. You feel separate, alone. You have judgment. You feel that you're against things and you have to have a fight for this and a fight for that. It's having fear and unknown. You experience no synergy in your life. But having clarity and having that new understanding of something that just connects, it clicks because it matches your heart. It becomes part of your core values. And having that connection gives you confidence and allows you to express what it is you want to experience. And suddenly you are manifesting things in your life that feel right, that no longer have resistance, that match, that you don't question, that you don't doubt. How do we get clarity? How do we become clear, crystal clear on clarity? To become clear about something is to be in the flow, to have balance, to be inhaling and exhaling, and experiencing the calm in between each and every one of those breaths. When we're having clarity, when we're becoming clear, we experience something. We have a realization, and we become connected to something. An idea, a concept, a person, a situation. We are reducing what no longer fits in our lives. We are eliminating the distraction, all that busy, chaotic commotion going on that is preventing you from being clear on receiving your clarity. We need to extract and clear out those distractions. We need to have discernment and say no. How do we do this? How do we get there? How does your body and your mind and your heart connect with clarity? There is no confusion in nature. Use the blue sky. Use the gray clouds. Use the trees, whatever season they may be in. Use the ground. Be in light that makes you feel good. Not harsh, not buzzing, just beautiful light, whether it's natural or light that you've created. Use smells and scents that enhance your mood. Clear mood. Incense, candles, essential oils. Use music. Allow the vibration of music, of language, of sounds to help keep you focused on what resonates with your heart, what resonates with your soul. Sights, sounds, smells, feelings, temperatures, the people around you. Remove the distractions from you having clarity. Get clear on your clarity. Allow a new understanding to become a part of you that supports your higher self, that makes you feel good, that allows you to receive, that allows you to give, that allows you to feel gratitude. And most importantly, allow a clarity to become a part of you that allows you to give and receive love.
I can't believe that was 5 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't actually feel long at all.
No, there's so many parts of me. I actually took notes on my own thing. It's funny. Oh,
I love that one.
I love to say the part that's really cool is when a new understanding becomes a part of you. Clarity, like so true. You know.
And what I really love about it, and I really love too that it reminds and I love your voice when you say it. It sounds like a magical fairyland when you're like, the blue sky. No. Yeah, I just love it. I'm like, oh, it's like a fairy princess is telling me to do it.
That's a great vision.
I seriously, but it reminds me to just, it's like to get clear. And I love that. Because clarity really is, it's the key to manifestation. It is. Once you get clear, it's a lot easier to manifest what you want in your life. Because if you're not clear, you're just going to get a whole whack of stuff.
Well, you remember how we've talked about focus before, clearing the distractions and focusing. But here's the key. If you're not clear in the beginning, you can't focus. Ha-ha. How's that?
Yeah.
You have to
it
actually
was so
get
true,
clear.
though.
Be able to focus. Yeah. The other
and I think it really does have to...
Oh, yeah, go.
No, you go. We just get excited. This show's all about going with the flow and not being perfect. I think all our shows are.
I was ready. I actually wrote down how perfection is not clarity. Meaning, just because, if you think you're being perfect at something, you don't have clarity because you're so rigid. And clarity, I think, is a broad vision. And being connected to something is not being attached to it. You want to be connected, but not attached.
Say that again. Okay, you say it a third time because I want everyone and myself to hear that 1,000 times.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yes, so being clear is being able to be connected to that something, not attached.
Oh, I love that.
So you just have
being connected, not attached.
And Clarity, yeah, clarity.
Oh, that's
not
so
attached.
Good. I'm going to write that on my wall. I'm going to wear a T-shirt that says
one more
that.
big one. One more big one to add to it, because I thought this was really cool. When your vision is driven by your core values. And that's what I really felt would be clear, because you want to have that clarity and make sure that they really feel like you're connected. Oh, my God, are we ready? Okay, remember we decided being connected, not attached? When you're connected, just like in our other song, aligned, you have flow, and then there's the clarity, and then you get the vision, and those are all your core values, and that's where we're now able to focus, because you are connected. I love all this. I love how it flows.
Oh, I love that. That's so true. But it's so true about perfection. It's very rigid. Like, it's this, I mean, again, I still absolutely, because I mean, all these shows, every concept kind of goes together. Like when you think of, because I know we've talked about comparison before, and I know personally for me, comparison has led to perfect, like, oh, I really want my house, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting a house and wanting a dining pavilion, as we've talked about in the past. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's when my life's not perfect right now, therefore I'm not perfect, and that's not perfect. I should have done this by this age, and blah, 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 monkey mind. That's where it becomes a negative thing. So, I mean, I've definitely had that, but being exactly what you just said, like being connected. What did you say? How did you say it again? Connected.
I love it again. I'm actually just looking at it. It's connected is more of a vision to have a goal, but not attached, which would be perfection. Connected,
yes.
not attached.
Yeah, because like when you I love that so much, because sometimes it feels like, oh, okay, well, do I just let go of everything and just let everything happen haphazardly? What? But that's not necessarily what you want to do. You still want to let go to. Because, okay, my mom always says this, and I love this, and you and I use this, that it's like this or something better, and because sometimes the something better could be even better than we imagined. So we got to be open to that, because if we have this idea of what perfection is, but it can be better than that, then why not have it better than that? Yeah, my mom always says that, and I love it. I mean, I don't remember it all the time, but I'm going to start using it again, this or something better, and then that allows you to not be so, us to be perfect. You can be like, okay, you know what? Another proposal. Just pop.
When we come back.
It's always a surprise.
It's not a touch. Surprise, Lizzle.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
The $1 million early bird deadline is this Friday in the Shop for Charity calendar sweepstakes supporting the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. Be part of this amazing draw for trips, cars, and $1 million cash. Plus, there are draws all year long. $1,000 cash daily, a Transat travel voucher weekly, a new car monthly, and the chance to play for $10 million in our pink ball draw. All for $30. Buy now. Call 1-800-643-1086 or visit sweepstakesforthecure.ca.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Alaya, in the circle on Sunday 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
I know where one thing, Michelle, one situation we can absolutely use the word perfection. You and I always say our cats are perfect.
Right.
Well, cats.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. No, I can't believe you said that because it was so weird. It was at the beginning of the show and, like the little maniac was chasing the rainbows and I was like, yeah, no, there's some perfect things. Pets are perfect. I always would say that to Charlie, my little dog who lives with my parents now, but he's like, he is this angelic beast with a huge snaggle tooth that sticks but you look at him, you don't look at that his teeth are imperfect. You look at you're like, you're perfect. And he's a perfect animal. And I constantly think that, Amy actually is perfect looking, but I always think about that though, that animals are perfection. They're just perfection.
I think that's what it is when you actually take an animal, for instance, and some people will be like, oh, I'm not going to get a shelter or a pet. I want, what's it called, a breeder. Like you go to the breeders to get your animals. Mind you, some of those animals that are from breeders, they actually end up at shelters. So see, you can't be attached to this idealism of what perfection is because there's so many different
animals need to be turned too.
Yes, that's
all
true.
animals
all
need
perfect,
to have somewhere. So yeah, it doesn't matter if they're perfect, not perfect.
And they really don't care if your house is perfect or not. They just want a warm little bed to snooze on and food in the belly.
And usually you can buy them all the nice beds and they pick a box. And that's what they pick. They can't sell boxes. It's like, ooh, plastic, boxes. You shouldn't have.
Of not being attached. Another example of not being attached to that outcome, that perfection. Like you go out and you spend this money, you get the most perfect bed, and it's like the perfect color with their name embroidered and all these things. A paw wipey thing at the side, and then boom, cardboard box. That's for me.
I know, but that's true for people. Like a lot of when kids are really young, of course they want things and all that stuff, but usually a child just wants to spend time and be loved and all those things more than all the toys in the world without a person there. So it's just, I think we're all, at the core, we're all like that. We're all happy if we're loved with a cardboard box.
Yeah. And once we are loved and we feel safe, and that's where there's our word again, that safety. Once we feel safe within ourselves and with the others around us, then we can go out and get the toys and have fun because we want to share the toys and the experiences with those people. And I do want to share this because I know this is our last segment and that little last ending won't even be a commercial, but the end of the show will come sneak up here. But I do want to share this week for me was a real tricky one because it really was. I wasn't even just measuring progress or felt like I really failed. I had failed at something in my moment there, something that I really thought I had nailed to perfection. It was going to be amazing. I was going to really support myself in these action steps. And not only did I not, I did it worse. And I wanted to, like what you said, I just wanted to throw it all away. Like, who cares? And I think when sometimes there's a certain amount of tests, like say you take a course and you have to write a test. And so you have to write 3 tests to pass it. I don't know, something like this, there's a certain level of passing something that you have to get to the next level. And sometimes we keep failing it and we keep rewriting it or we keep redoing it. And it is hard in that moment to that's where you have to really cultivate the love for yourself to be able to stand. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't have that love to go to reach out to somebody else. But I think that's where this whole thing about progress, because sometimes it's hard to highlight progress, but if we can remind everybody to really find out, go a little bit deeper into it to say, what does this mean? What are the lessons? Where have I come from originally? How much do I love myself and value myself to keep moving forward in perhaps a way that maybe you were, after all those tests, maybe you weren't supposed to do that thing that you're supposed to pass, or maybe I wasn't supposed to do what I wanted to do. And I think that, we're going to go back to the Michelle lesson of you just be kind to yourself. Really find where that kindness is to yourself in any way that you can. Anyway.
And sometimes it's really hard to get there. It's just remembering in that moment because it's really easy. And again, I know this from personal experience. When stuff doesn't keep, like you just said, maybe it just keeps not going your way. And it's just like, come on. And then you're like, okay, well, the common denominator is me here. And then it can become this full meltdown land. And then if you can just, and sometimes it's a distraction. We've said this so many times, virtually every show, but just like what you said, how Matt Kahn's be terrible, be the best at being upset right now.
Right.
That idea of just distracting yourself for a minute can usually send you on a different trajectory, that you're just like that 5%. I mean, again, we've said all this stuff, but it just is because it's in our own lives. I know we both experienced, you know, who hasn't experienced a meltdown? I mean, I don't know, not me. I've had so many. But usually out of it. What?
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, out of it.
No, I want to hear. What saved you?
I was going to say, what helped me yesterday, because one of those, it wasn't a bad moment at all yesterday, but really what spun me into an amazing, like I was like shocked, but whoosh, was I suddenly created a plan. It wasn't the most productive one would say plan at the beginning, but I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make myself some tasty food. I'm going to put the football game on. And because I had a plan, like I'm going to do this, I even made hot cocoa for myself. I used my organic cocoa powder and my almond milk was so delicious, and maple syrup just a little bit for sweetness. And it was so exciting because I thought I have a plan, and that plan made me feel like I had many successes, and it started making me feel good about myself because I said I was going to put the football game on at 1, and guess what? I put the football game on at 1, and I said I was going to have my food, and I said I was going to have my cocoa, and every time I had those little mini successes with a plan, that really I celebrated it to like a full blown, like a touchdown celebration every time. You know?
And that's what you need, like, and that's very unique to you. Like, you need a plan, and that's like that's so good to find places and find stuff that works for you. Like, I think that's so good because everybody has a different way of operating, and I think it was so funny because when you texted me, I was like, that's a perfect Lisa plan.
And I love that you used the word plan. I didn't realize that I was feeling so, I'm non-successful at the moment about, just my whole, how things are happening. I thought, I'm going to feel successful. How can I feel successful? What could I do? And everybody right now, if you're feeling like there's something that you just keep, like, it just keeps putting you down and you can't get up, what would make you feel successful, and take it way back to the beginning, right back to like the basics. If you ate, be successful that you ate. If you, got to go out for a walk, even if it was 10 steps down the road, then celebrate that you got those 10 steps in.
Oh, and sometimes it can be really simple. Like, I know I wasn't feeling well last week, and it's very, very easy for me to just go into total have rat nest hair and all that stuff because I won't leave the studio. Like, that's really easy for me. But then I realized one little thing, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to put, because I like both. I like either dressing like a hobo or dressed up. And it's like, I'm going to put a dress on. And I wasn't even going anywhere, but got dressed up and like, I didn't end up going out, but not out, like just, but it was amazing how even that I started to feel better.
You changed your environment.
It's just, yeah, like, and it wasn't even really doing anything, but just little things like that. I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better. And sometimes we just need like little shifts like that, and a big reminder that you can do all the personal work in the world, but you're still going to have human experiences. You're still going to have, like, we don't all of a sudden just, everything and become immune. Like, I'd like to believe when I'm 60, I'll have it all. I'll be like, that's it. Everything's perfect from now on. I'd like to believe that, but the reality is we're always going to have little challenges. We could be the most successful person on the planet and have all these things. There's going to be something that happens. So it's about because if we're here, we're having a human experience, and we're here for little lessons constantly. So I think the biggest thing to remind, and I mean, mainly I'm saying this to myself, is just to be like, use your tools when those moments come up, and they get less and less, and like the meltdowns get less and less, but not to be so freaked out if it happens. If that happens, you know what, it's how you move through it. And if you're like, okay, well, I can get through this, instead of the meltdowns being longer, they get shorter and shorter and less and less. But I don't think they're ever going to go away. Maybe not as meltdown, but like it's never going to be perfect. So that's what I'm going to say. Life is never going to be perfect.
And maybe to prevent the meltdown is to say, you know what, the word perfection and what your ideal of perfection, if we could soften the word perfection to a vision, because a vision isn't perfect. You can't fill in all the blanks. And if we maybe, soften the word failure to smaller progress. You know what I mean? I think it's being kind to you, or softening the words and softening the expectations, softening the attachment to being a strong connection. Actually, do you know what's funny? Our last show was called Strengthening the Connection. Pretty cute.
You're so good. You're such a good bring back.
We circled right around there. And I know going into the month of December, a lot of people, there's a lot of perfection. Am I going to get the perfect gift for Christmas for somebody? Am I going to be able to have a perfect meal? Am I going to be able to provide the perfect service to these people? And just really, I hope everybody is kind and gentle on themselves, as no matter what you do is perfect, because where you are right now, no matter who you are, what you are doing, what you can achieve, it is perfect. We are all doing the exact perfect thing at any moment in our lives. And I really took that in for myself yesterday.
And even if it doesn't feel, even the times that it feels bad, it can really be a growth part. Acting like it's a movie. Yes. A growth part of the movie. I didn't even know what words to say. What's after a growth thing? Like
it is. It's a learning lesson. It's expansion.
If you look at your life as a movie, what movie? Not one movie. Even the happiest fairy tales. Actually, fairy tales usually have a lot of drama in it. But there's not one movie that doesn't have some type of arc. It's all like and movies that are way too perfect, where everything's perfect at the beginning, you're like, oh God, something's gonna happen. Like it doesn't exist. And you would never watch that movie. If a movie's like, oh, look, these people had their life and they went to a couple barbecues, it was great, nothing happened, why would you watch it?
So embrace the failures, embrace the conflicts, always be kind to yourself, and come back next Monday to the Stress Show and come visit us at 432shift.com. Bye, Michelle!
Yay! Bye, Lisa!